The betting books have the Mavericks as 3-point favorites. The odds are stacked against the Spurs, but the real question is, can one player be enough to defy them? Let's break down the numbers and the strategy. Historically, the Spurs own this matchup, leading the all-time series 136-103. But that was then. The modern era tells a different story. Dallas has completely flipped the script, taking 16 of the last 20 games, often in dominant fashion. And when you look at how these teams are built, the odds make sense. Last season, both clubs were pretty average on offense, but the real separation is on defense. The Spurs were a bottom 5 defensive team. The Mavs defense, on the other hand, is a specific and predictable machine. It's a funnel. Their perimeter defense, featuring D'Angelo Russell and a 35-year-old Klay Thompson, is vulnerable and has been exploited in the preseason. Their entire scheme is designed to let you get a step on the outside and then force you toward their elite interior shot blockers, anchored by Anthony Davis. So when the books favor Dallas by about 3 points, they're saying the Mavericks' veteran structure and that defensive scheme should outweigh the singular brilliance of Wemby. But that's the key. What if Wemby's impact is so massive, it breaks the math by attacking those exact weaknesses? For the Spurs to win, Wembanyama doesn't need a miracle. He just needs to bend the game in 3 key areas. Think of it as his 3-lever blueprint for defying the odds. Lever 1 is his defensive gravity. It's about making the paint a no-fly zone. The first key is owning the defensive glass. Last season, the Spurs were one of the worst defensive rebounding teams in the league, ranking 25th and grabbing only 73% of available defensive boards. For an upset, they need to get that number over 75%. The second key is turning defense into offense. Wemby's stocks, steals, and blocks are highlight reel plays, but they need to be more than that. They need to become fast break points. The goal? 5 or more stocks. And that's not a fantasy. Last season, he averaged a combined 4.9 stocks per game. Lever 2 is about manufacturing easy points by attacking Dallas where they are weakest. First, Wemby has to live at the free throw line. The goal is 8+ attempts. This forces the defense to collapse and gets players like Anthony Davis into foul trouble, and that is absolutely critical because the Mavericks are completely dependent on him. He is the undisputed leader, the anchor of their entire funnel defense, and their most reliable scorer. Taking him off the floor dismantles their whole game plan. He needs to be the focal point with a usage rate over 28%, something he's more than capable of, having posted a rate over 30% last season. Second, the Spurs must decisively win the 3-point battle. This is where Dallas is most vulnerable. The Mavericks' perimeter defense has been subpar, and it only deteriorated further after the Luka trade. San Antonio can exploit this by spacing the floor and hitting efficient threes, forcing Dallas to stretch its defense. Once that happens, the attention drawn to the arc opens up the interior, leaving Wemby in more isolated matchups against AD. That's where things get interesting. Repeated one-on-one pressure on AD could lead to early foul trouble, tilting the matchup in the Spurs' favor. Lever 3 is the toughest one. Survive the minutes when Wembanyama is on the bench. This is where the Spurs have been killed all season. When Wemby sits, the Spurs defense goes from average to one of the worst in the league. To counter this, the bench needs to protect the ball and use smart defensive schemes like mixing in zone looks and switching aggressively to disrupt Dallas's rhythm. So, what does this all boil down to? Here's the simple 6-point checklist for a Spurs upset. If they can hit 4 of these 6, the odds swing firmly in their favor. 1. Hold Dallas to an offensive rating of 112 or less. 2. Hit the 3-point target. 38+ attempts at 36% or better. 3. Win the free throw battle by at least 4 attempts. 4. Keep their turnovers to 12 or fewer and force more from Dallas. 5. Limit Dallas to 10 or fewer second chance points. And 6. The Wembanyama stat line. he needs to deliver around 28 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and those 5+ stocks. And that last one is the key. A line like that sounds like a career night for anyone else, but for Wemby, it's right in line with his 2024 to 25 averages of 24 points, 11 rebounds, and nearly 5 stocks a game. It's entirely within his reach. So can Victor Wembanyama defy the odds? Absolutely.